What's up, YouTube? I hope each and every one of you guys are healthy and enjoying life today. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 2024 Nissan Frontier SV. Huge thank you to Emma Gomez over at Safford Nissan of Sterling, Virginia for allowing me to do this video for you guys today. If you are interested in this particular Frontier or any Nissan product, then I'll be sure to have Emma's information on screen as well as in the description box down below. But with that said, let's get into the video. All right, well, just like usual, first I'm going to talk about the exterior and the performance. So like I said, this is a 2024 Nissan Frontier SV. And this particular one's been painted in the $395 Bluestone Pearl. I wanted to preface this video by saying the SV remains unchanged for the 2024 model year. So with that in mind, as standard with the SV, you get halogen headlights, standard running lights, and standard turn signals. This one just so happens to be optioned with the $990 technology package, so you also get high beam assist. Now, taking a step to the left, this is what the front end of the Frontier SV looks like. And speaking of Frontier, you get the Frontier lettering stamped into your body color upper grille surround. Now, if you come down just a little bit, you get the gray front grille with your Nissan logo located at the center. Now, zooming back out, you get the body color front fascia with that gray lower grille. And then on the outsides of your front bumper, you get the satin black outer grills. Now, all the way at the bottom of your engine, you get a front skid plate, and the SV also gets 7.5 inches of ground clearance. Now, here is a front 3/4 shot of this thing. Love the color. Now, this being the SV, as standard, you get the 16-inch silver painted wheels wrapped in 265/70 Hankook Dynapro HT all-season tires. I'm going to give you a view of the tread pattern on these tires here real quick. That is what they look like. And then there are two ways you can upgrade these wheels. You could spec the SV convenience package, which is also going to give you 17-inch wheels. But this one has been spec'd with the $255 splash guards, which can be found behind all 4 of your wheels and tires. Now, coming up to the side mirrors, you get body color mirror caps, and as standard, these side view mirrors are manual folding and power adjustable. As mentioned, this one's been optioned with the technology package, so you get the blind spot monitoring on the upper left-hand side of your driver's side mirror and on the upper right-hand side of your passenger side mirror. These are not heated as standard, so if you wanted heated outside mirrors, you might want to look into getting the $2,190 SV convenience package, which will give you the heated side view mirrors. Now, I'm going to take a step back. As you may be able to tell, this one is the crew cab short box configuration. So you get the satin black window trim. You get body color door handles, no keyless access. If you wanted keyless access, you'd have to spec the SV convenience package. But on the driver's side of the bed, you have your fuel door. Opening this up, no capless filler neck, but 87 octane will do you just fine. Now, up top here, you have your satin black shark fin antenna. You also have your third brake light and your halogen cargo lights. You can see you just get one piece of glass back here. If you wanted the sliding rear window, you would have to also opt for the SV convenience package. So if you're going to get the SV, I would recommend, honestly, getting the SV convenience package. I know it's about $2,000 option, but it's worth it because it gives you a ton of very convenient features that just make this thing very nice, and it's not going to make you get one of the higher trim levels like the SL or something like that that's going to cost you quite a bit more. The SV convenience package is just kind of like the sweet spot in the Frontier lineup, in my personal opinion. But coming around back, you get LED taillights as standard. Here is a rear 3/4 shot of this thing. Now, taking a step to the right, here is a booty shot of this thing. You can see you get the satin black tailgate handle and the satin black tailgate handle surround. You also have your backup camera right there, and this is a locking tailgate, but it is not an electronic locking tailgate, so you'd actually have to stick your physical key in there in order to lock the tailgate. It's not going to lock with the button on the key fob. You also get gray badging back here with the Nissan badging, the SV badging, and just like the front, you also get the Frontier stamped here into the tailgate. The tailgate itself is dampened, as you may be able to see there, and you do not get spray in bed liner as standard. The only things you get back here as standard are the 4 tie down hooks, one found in each corner. If you wanted a spray in bed liner as well as all these other options I'm about to read to you, you might want to look into getting the SV convenience package. So as I just preached a little bit, the SV convenience package is going to give you all the options you want on a vehicle at a pretty decent price. So with the SV convenience package here in the bed area, you would get the spray in bed liner, center. You get a 120-volt bed outlet. You'd also get the Utilitrack system with the LED under rail lighting with the Utilitrack system. So that is a very, worthwhile feature, or worthwhile features with that package, in my personal opinion. You may see differently. Also, it's an easy closed tailgate. It is very light. And you also get a max payload capacity of this particular one of 1,480 pounds. Now, as standard with the SV, you get the body color rear bumper. This one's been spec'd with the technology package, so you get 4 rear parking sensors. With the SV convenience package, you would also get a class 4 trailer hitch. As you can see, this one does not have a trailer hitch. I do believe you might get a spot you could set like a ball here, so you'd have like the bumper mounted ball, but I would recommend a hitch in my personal opinion. But if you did get the SV convenience package with the class 4 trailer hitch, you would get a max tow capacity of 6,460 pounds here with 2-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive, it's a little bit less, but this one's been spec'd with 2-wheel drive. And now I'm just going to give you a walk around 360 of the SV Frontier. Now, I will say that this is, in my opinion, really, aside from the Honda Ridgeline, the last fully 100% reliable, simple mid-size truck. Everything else now has a turbo 4-cylinder. Turbos are just another thing to go wrong. This thing's simple here with the powertrain. It's also simple on the exterior. So if you're looking for a truck that is just going to last you a very long time, yes, you are going to have to give up on the fancy features, the fancy look of the newer mid-size trucks, but this thing's going to last you forever, powertrain wise, and on the interior with all the physical controls. You'll see that here in a second. But with that stuff out of the way, let's move into performance. Popping open that hood reveals the good old-fashioned 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6 that produces 310 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque. It's made it to a 9-speed automatic transmission for a 0 to 60 time in about 7 seconds. And if you were wondering about fuel economy, you can achieve 18 miles per gallon in the city, 24 miles per gallon on the highway for 21 miles per gallon combined with 2-wheel drive. If you did want the 4-wheel drive version of this, that is going to cost you an additional $3,000. And as I was just mentioning before we got into the performance part of the video, this and the Honda Ridgeline are the last mid-size trucks with a naturally aspirated V6 engine. These things are tried and true, super reliable, and it's kind of like the best of both worlds here with the NAV6 and the 9-speed automatic transmission. It's very smooth. It's going to keep you in the lower RPMs on the highway. So honestly, again, if you're looking for a truck for the long term, take a look at the Frontier. But if you're enjoying the video so far today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot reach my goal without your support. So if you're enjoying the video, if you've learned anything from the video thus far, please take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. But with that stuff out of the way, let's move into the interior. Moving on into the interior, as mentioned earlier, you do not get keyless access. So in order to get into the interior, you have to press the unlock button here on your key fob. This is what your key fob looks like. It's satin black, and going over the functions on it, you have your lock function, your unlock function, and your panic function. If you wanted keyless entry and remote start, you would have to look into getting the SV convenience package. However, you still get push button start here as standard. Now, taking a look at what we got going on in the interior of this particular SV, this one's been spec'd with the charcoal cloth interior. If you're not a fan of the charcoal cloth, they also have an optional sandstone cloth for the same price. Now, taking a look here at the driver door panel, you have your power side view mirror controls. That button is going to restrict your passenger window privileges. Then you have your unlock and your lock functions. You get an automatic up and down driver window. All the other windows are not automatic up or down. You get a nicely padded armrest, a little bit of storage space, a spot you could set a water bottle, and a speaker here on the door panel. This comes standard with a 6-speaker audio system. If you're an audio fanatic, you might want to look into getting the optional Fender audio system. Now, as standard with the SV, you get a 6-way power driver seat with manual lumbar function, and then you also get a 4-way manual front passenger seat. Now, stepping here into the interior, let's hear what it sounds like when you close the door. Now, you do get push button start as standard, so let's take a listen to what it sounds like when you start it up from the driver's perspective. That is what it looks and sounds like when you fire the Frontier up from the driver's perspective. And now all I'm gonna do is walk you throughout the entire interior. So first things first, over here, you get an HVAC vent, you get a defroster here for the front window, you get the same thing on that side as well. These buttons are to brighten and or dim your gauge cluster as well as your backlit buttons. And then you have your trip reset button right there. This is going to turn the audio and your blind spot monitoring system on or off. So it's basically the audio, like if you're turning your turn signal on, the blind spot monitoring system's going off, it's gonna go beep. That is how you turn the blind spot monitoring system and that beep off. Now beneath that, that is how you turn your cargo lights on or off. And then all the way down here, you have your traction control system on or off. You also have the foot pedal emergency brake. Push against it to engage it, push against it to disengage it. This is to pop open the hood. And then as standard with this thing, it's kind of hard to do this with just two hands. You get a manual tilting steering wheel. So the steering wheel goes up and down. The steering wheel does not go in and out. So it's just a tilting steering wheel. It is not a telescoping steering wheel. But now let's take a listen to the turn signal. That is what the turn signal sounds like here on the Frontier. And not only is this the turn signal control stock, it is also the headlight control stock. So that is headlights off. That is headlights automatic. That is parking lights on, and all the way up is headlights in the always on position. Now zooming back out, you get a vinyl wrapped steering wheel, and just like any other vehicle, you have your horn at the center. So let's take a listen to it. That is what the horn sounds like on the Frontier. Now, if you are looking for a heated steering wheel, you might want to look into getting the $2,190 SV convenience package. Not only would you get the heated steering wheel, you would also get the heated exterior mirrors and the heated front seats with that package. Like I'm telling you guys, that package is very worthwhile in my personal opinion. Now, going over the controls on the steering wheel, the source button is going to switch you between your different audio sources, AM, FM, XM, Bluetooth audio, USB, etc. And then this control right here, if you are on any other screen on your cluster besides the settings screen, this is how you go forwards and or backwards on a track. However, if you are in the settings screen, then you can control the settings screen with this control here. So this kind of has two functions to it. And then these arrows right here are to control your partially digital gauge cluster there at the center, which I'll get into here in a second. Then you have your volume controls. This button right here is going to speak to the vehicle, and if you click the phone button on the steering wheel, it is going to pop up your phone screen on the infotainment system. Now, this one being optioned with the $990 technology package, not only do you get the high beam assist, but you also get the intelligent cruise control. The intelligent cruise control is an adaptive cruise control system. It also gives you the reverse automatic braking system, the lane departure warning system, and the rear parking sensors, and a couple other ones you can read on screen right now. You also have your windshield wiper control stock there. And then moving into our digital gauge cluster, or our gauge cluster, first things first, you get a 7-inch drive assist display. This is what I'm referring to as the digital gauge cluster. Now on the left hand side, you have a tachometer and your coolant temperature gauge, and on the right hand side you have your speedometer and your fuel gauge. Now going throughout the 7-inch screen, up top here, that's letting us know that the blind spot monitoring system is active. Then you have the fuel range, and right here you have the ambient exterior temperature. Right now this is displaying the digital speedometer readout and the average speed. Then you got your transmission status stuff down here and your odometer. Again, to navigate throughout this screen, it is very easy. You have these controls right here. So I'm going to click to the right, and it's going to bring us into the off-road screen. Then you get some auxiliary gauges, some more auxiliary gauges. Then you get your driving information stuff. You keep on going. You have your fuel economy stuff, your audio stuff. You got your different driving aids for the forward collision warning, the blind spot monitoring system, lane keeping system. Then you got your tire pressure stuff. Keep on clicking, you get your auto stop start stuff. It lets you know how long the vehicle has been off for with the auto stop start system and how much fuel it has saved with the auto stop start system. If you press and hold on this right here, that is going to reset those values back down to 0. Clicking all the way to the right, now this doubles as another feature. Now if I click on it, it's going to bring me into the driving assistance stuff. So now this is the select button. So you can see you got your lane keeping system, the blind spot monitoring system, emergency brake system. You can turn this stuff on or off. Like if I wanted to go in here, you can turn it on, you can turn it off, and it's going to let you know on the upper left-hand side of the screen if the lane keeping system is off, and etc. You can go in between all of those different things and turn what you want on and what you want off. And then you get your meter settings, vehicle settings. We can go into the vehicle settings if you want to. You can see the lighting settings. If you click on that, you get your light sensitivity, auto, room lamp, all those different things. You basically see what you can see on the setting screen. Personally, for me, I like to drive with the digital speedometer readout at the center. That is just my personal preference. Now, coming over to here, you get a little bit of storage space. You could set your phone up top here. You could set maybe a couple pencils, pens, etc., maybe tape measure. And then beneath that, you have the 8-inch infotainment system with wired Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto connectivity. You do not get built-in navigation, and this is what your home screen looks like right here. So you can see you have how much signal my phone has, because my phone is connected to the vehicle via Bluetooth right now. Then you have the current time. This is the audio stuff. Right now it's connected to the Bluetooth audio. Then you can go into your call history. You click over to the left, you get a clock. You can customize the menu. Click over to the right, then you have your different sources, AM, FM, XM, or I guess it's just AM, FM, Bluetooth audio, and USB. And then if you go back, then you get your shortcut buttons here on the bottom of the screen to shortcut you into your phone, your audio, your Bluetooth connections, your information stuff, and your settings. Let's say we go into FM, right? You can see you have all of your different XM stations, preset radio stations here. You can keep on swiping. I believe you have a few different pages of XM and FM or AM radio stations you want to have here, and then you can go in between your different sources. As mentioned, you do get Sirius XM here with the SV, which is definitely nice. Then you have another settings screen at the bottom of the screen. You can see those are the different settings menus you can go throughout. Then you can also go into your camera settings and stuff. Very easy to use screen. I don't need to spend too much time on this because it's very self-explanatory. But then you have your volume control knob here. If you press on that, that is going to mute the audio system. Then you have your tuning control knob over here. If you enter on that, you can adjust the bass, you can adjust the middle, you can adjust the treble, the balance, and the fader. And then you have all the physical controls beneath that for your shortcuts into audio, your home screen. That is going to bring you into your phone stuff. Backwards or forwards on a track. This is going to bring you into your camera menu. This is going to bring you into your daytime mode, your nighttime mode, or your audio mode or auto mode. Then you get a back button. Beneath that, that is how you turn the auto stop start system on or off. 2024 is the first year of auto stop start in the Frontier. Then you have your hazard button. This is going to let you know if the passenger airbag is on or off. I believe if this was four-wheel drive, this is where the four-wheel drive selector would be. This particular one is two-wheel drive, but anyways, this is where the four-wheel drive selector would be. As mentioned, push button start as standard. You do also get a single zone climate control system as standard. If you wanted the dual zone climate control system, you would have to look into getting the $2,190 SV convenience package, because that is going to give you the dual zone climate. Right now, this is the temperature, this is the fan speed, and the other things there. You also get a 12-volt power outlet. Beneath that, with the technology package, as mentioned, you get the rear parking sensors, and clicking on this button is going to turn the rear parking sensors on or off. Then you get a USB-A port, you get a USB-C port, and then down here, you get a spot you could set your phone. This is an iPhone 14 Pro Max, one of the bigger phones on the market, and it fits down in there. You also get a grab handle here, a grab handle for the passenger. You get 2 cup holders. Now, this also does have a manual shift mode. If you wanted to go into the manual shift mode, you go into drive, flip this over to the left, push up to upshift, pull down to downshift, and that is that. Now, behind that, you get a little bit of storage space. Right now I have a key fob in there. Now, taking a look at the glove box, or this isn't a glove box, but this is your center console. You get a couple spots. You can set a pen, or a highlighter, and then down in here, no connectivity. I'd say this is about maybe 10 inches to a foot deep, followed by probably 8 to 10 inches this way. So very good amount of storage space down in there. And then moving over to our glove box, first things first, this is what the passenger side looks like. As mentioned, you do get the manual lumbar function, so you can see, follow to right here, and then you have this control. So this is going to loosen the lumbar, this is going to bring the lumbar out. So manual, it's very interesting looking. But coming over here as standard with the SV, you do not get a lockable lower glove box, but you get a decent amount of storage space in the glove box. If you wanted the illuminated locking glove box, take a look at the SV convenience package. Then you get a standard rear view mirror. You get your dome lights up top here. Right now in the middle, that is set to door, so when you open up the doors, the light turns off. or excuse me, the light turns on. When you flip it all the way back, now when I open up the door, the interior lights will not turn on. And if I push all the way forward, that is the instant dome light on button. You can also turn these lights on individually by just clicking on them, and they are halogen. Now, if you wanted the overhead console with the sunglass holder, look at the SV convenience package. Opening this up, you get a vanity mirror, but no vanity lights. However, this does slide in and out for when the sun is in those awkward positions. You do the same thing, or you have the same thing here with this visor, except the passenger also gets an OPU panel and an OPU panel on the A-pillar. So OPU panel on the A-pillar, OPU panel on the roof. The driver gets neither of those OPU panels. Now, speaking of the seat comfort, I think these seats are pretty decently comfortable. You can adjust the lumbar to your liking. I will say though, I think these seats are maybe on the firmer side of things, but they seem like they will break in and be very comfortable for the long term. So now I'm just gonna throw the entire window sticker on screen. You can take a look at the couple options this thing has, take a look at everything that you get as standard. I am just going to highlight the MSRP. So the MSRP of the way that this particular 2024 Frontier SV is spec'd is $37,360. So definitely a lot of money. You know, there's the Honda Ridgeline out there. You can get a Honda Ridgeline RTL, I believe, for like 40 grand. And that's got the leather seats, heated seats, a sunroof, and it's very nice. This is more capable than the Ridgeline when it comes to the hauling capabilities. And this is also a little bit more rugged than the Ridgeline. So this thing, yes, while it does look rather basic, it is going to last you forever. Now, I can't say the same thing about the Chevy Colorado, the Canyon, maybe even the new Tacoma. The new Tacomas, if you think this is expensive, take a look at the new Tacoma pricing. It is insane. Toyota forgot who they were, and they just got super greedy, really, when it comes down to it. Toyota with their pricing is just ridiculous. So if you're looking for a truck for the long term, the Frontier or the Ridgeline, one of the two, maybe the one. This is definitely more truck-like than the Ridgeline, but I do want to show you what we got going on in the rear seats before moving into the driving portion of the video. So one thing about the Frontier is that you don't have the most amount of space here in the second row, but you can make do. Now, let's see, how far do these rear windows go down? Boom, all the way down again. This window is manual up and down. Not manual, but you know what I mean. It's not a crank window, but you gotta hold it up and down. You get a nicely padded armrest, a little bit of storage space, a spot you can set a water bottle and a speaker. This is what these second row seats look like. If you pull up on this thing right here and you also pull up on the seat, you get some under seat storage. You could set some jumper cables in here, maybe a couple snacks or something like that. This one's also been optioned with the carpeted floor mats. I'll put the price of the carpeted floor mats on screen right now. But anyways, you get the same kind of storage space here under these seats as well. Folding those seats back down, let's see what we got going on here in the interior. So sitting behind myself, you get an OPU panel, you get a dry cleaning hook, you get another OPU panel here on the B pillar. You do not get a seat back pocket behind the driver's seat, but you do get one behind the passenger seat. You also get a USB-A port and a USB-C port behind the console. And then on that side, you get another OPU panel and another OPU panel on the B pillar. You also get a center fold down armrest here with two cup holders. I'm actually surprised to see the armrest on the SV, because I know on like the GM counterparts, like the Canyon and the Colorado, you have to spec for the center fold down armrest. And then up top here, you get another halogen dome light. Now, when it comes to knee and leg room, I'm 5'9", adjusted behind myself. I've got a little bit of knee and leg room left over. Here's another view of the knee and leg room. And when it comes to headroom, I've got probably another 3-ish inches of headroom. Now, one thing I will have a little bit of a complaint back here is that I think these second row seats are a little bit too straight up for me. I would not want to go on a 5-hour road trip in this thing. I think I'd be like, oh, just have to move. They're just a little bit too straight up. I think they need to add a little bit of reclinability here to these rear seats in the Frontier. But other than that, it's a great truck. And you know, it's very basic, and basic is good in today's world, because it seems like everything's just getting a little too complicated, and as it gets more complicated, it gets less reliable. But you know, we talked about the exterior, we've talked about the performance, and now we've talked about what's going on here in the interior. So I want to see what this thing's like to drive, as I'm assuming you guys do as well. So I'll see you guys in the driver's seat. All right, now on to the driving portion of the video, where I always start my videos here. There's a nice C8 Corvette right there. Anyway, I rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Nothing will ever be a 10. Perfection does not exist in this world. I like that color. Did very well over that first speed bump. You can see that Vet was going pretty slow over the bumps. That's because you have to. These bumps are literally just like, I don't even know. They're huge speed bumps. This thing is going to get a 7.9 on a scale of 1 to 10. It did very well going over those speed bumps. And this thing has actually a pretty darn comfortable suspension. Obviously, with it having leaf springs in the rear, if you hit an awkward bump, it is going to feel a little awkward and jumpy. But that's what you expect. You know, the same thing with all the other trucks pretty much with leaf springs, the Canyon, the Colorado, etc. They all have that kind of jump, the kind of jumpiness that you get if you hit an awkward bump. This thing, it's got a little bit of that as well. I love the fact that Nissan has stuck to their guns with the 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6. There's just something to be said about simplicity and basics. We got to get back to the basics because now we're just adding too much tech. Here's a little acceleration. And this thing's honestly kind of the best of both worlds because you get the naturally aspirated V6 and a 9-speed automatic transmission. So when you're cruising down the highway, you're not going to be at a super high RPM with like a 6-speed transmission or something. You know, obviously I know that the new trucks now have the, 2.7 liter 4-cylinder or whatever they are, made it to like an 8-speed auto, which is nice, but turbos, another thing to just potentially go wrong. I'm not saying that they will go wrong because maybe they are super reliable up to 150,000 miles, but maybe you blow a turbo seal, you got to take the turbo out. It's just another thing that you have to worry about. It's another moving part. Whereas if you have a naturally aspirated V6, all you're worrying about is the engine. You're not putting extra boost into the engine. You don't have to worry about any of that. And I know turbo technology has come a long way. That's a very nice looking spec on that Aston Martin. Turbo technology has come a long way. I mean, you see them with the F-150 EcoBoost. They last a very, very long time. But when a turbo goes out, it is not it's not a cheap fix. It's expensive. And that does happen. It's just, even though they're super reliable, there's still those awkward occasions where that stuff just happens. Just another thing, like I'm saying. So another thing I really like about the Frontier is the physical controls. Physical volume control knob, physical tuning control knob, physical climate controls. It's just very simple, very basic here on the interior. And I think with the engine, with the physical controls, with everything just being simple, this is a truck you buy and you keep for 30 years. And it's going to be totally fine over the course of the 30 years with the proper maintenance. I mean, that's just what's so good about this thing. And, another thing is, yeah, $37,000 for this is pretty expensive. I would say that this is probably a fair price at about 33. I'd be okay paying 33 for this. 37 is pushing it a little bit, but you see the pricing on the new Tacomas and you're like 42 or 41 grand for an SR5. What? It's just the prices of everything is just ridiculous. So in the grand scheme of things here in 2024, $37,000 is a pretty good deal. Now I want to talk about the powertrain here real quick, because just giving it a little bit of gas there, it's got that nice just low end torque. You really don't have to get into the throttle, and even if you put a little bit more into the throttle than you normally would to just accelerate a little bit, it'll downshift one gear, give you that power where you're getting decent fuel economy, but you're also accelerating at the same time. This 9-speed feels very good to me, like just one downshift, hitting the throttle a little bit, it finds its gear that it needs to be in. Now, I have not done a tow test here with the 9-speed, so I don't know if it does the gear hunting that some of the other transmissions, 8, 9, 10-speed transmissions do. I couldn't tell you. I have not towed with this, so couldn't tell you on that. But just for, just regular cruising, it doesn't gear hunt, which is nice. Again, on the highway, I haven't driven this thing at 80 miles an hour, so I don't know, but I'm going about 55 right now, which is kind of highway speed, and it's doing just fine. It's just in its gear that it needs to be in, and it's not gear hunting like I was saying. So we're going to do a nice little acceleration here at this light, just a normal acceleration when this light turns green, but there's just, I know it's basic, guys. I know this interior looks basic, and in today's day and age, you gotta have the latest and the greatest. I guess it's kind of always been like that. But there's also something to be said about just the basics. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about replacing a $2,000 screen if your screen takes an SHIT. Here's an acceleration. That was was a nice little acceleration for you. So what I'm saying is with like the Canyon, with the Colorado, with the Tacoma, those screens are not cheap to replace. You know, one of those screens, $1,000 minimum. And now that they're integrated into the dash, it's like, how the heck do you got to take that thing out? It looks like a headache. Or maybe you just, you know, unscrew a couple things and it comes right out. But nonetheless, that screen is not cheap. And this screen is very basic. You know, this Nissan screen's probably been around for a long time, so it's tried and true. And that's kind of like, that's probably the catchphrase for this thing. Just tried and true, simple and reliable. So very, you know, underwhelming, I guess you would say, when it comes to technology, but it's got adaptive cruise control, which is definitely very nice. But now that this light has turned green, I'm going to do a full throttle acceleration here to the left, so you can just kind of experience what it's like to have an NA V6 in 2024. So here is floored. And there's your acceleration. Does that feel foreign to you guys? Shoot, we haven't had an NA V6 in a truck in a while. It seems like maybe since just a few years ago, it seems like everybody's kind of phased out their old V6s and gone to these new turbo 4-cylinders. I don't quite understand why, because they're getting pretty much the same fuel economy as the V6, maybe cranking out a little bit more power, but you put the money into an NA V6, you can make that same kind of power and probably still get, you know, the same fuel economy minus the turbo. So very comfortable ride. It feels like a truck. Now, one thing about the steering is that, yes, it is true, the steering is heavy, especially if you are in a parking lot. It's a little bit, you know, like, why does it have to be so heavy? But it is a hydraulic steering rack. I think most of the new trucks are now electric power steering racks. So, you know, it is heavy, but it's also not like extremely heavy where you gotta like use two hands to steer. You can still use one hand, but it is noticeably heavy. And I was actually surprised, number one, moving back to sound systems, or moving into sound systems, the standard sound system in this thing is actually pretty good. It's got a good bass to it, it's got good clarity, but if you really like listening to music, they also have the Fender sound system, and it's gonna sound better than this. So this thing kind of rides like a truck-ish. Not that that's a bad thing, but you can definitely feel it over some bumps that you can, it feels like a truck, but not too truck-like, but there is a little bit of truckiness to it. Nonetheless, it is a fantastic riding and driving vehicle, and it's going to last you a long time if you do end up picking one up. But that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot reach my goal without your support. So if you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything from the video, please just take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. Those three things look very good for my channel in the YouTube algorithm. That helps me grow, that helps me achieve my dreams, and I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for 38,000 subscribers. I know in the, you know, the grand scheme of things on YouTube, it's not very many, but to me it is huge. So thank you all so much for the continued support. Thank you for the support from my new followers from this video. I really, really appreciate it. But that is it for today's video. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.